Hey everyone, welcome back to another video about the solutions available with Ollie. Today, we'll be discussing non-beer items and Ollie. While Ollie is primarily designed for breweries, we've had numerous businesses have a lot of great success producing a myriad of non-beer related products, such as cider, mead, wine, kombucha, and many more. Today, we'll start with Ollie Ops and explore how to forecast and track production of these items, as well as easily calculate the cost of goods sold. Then, we'll move to Ollie Order and focus on distribution. We'll take a peek at invoicing, track communication with customers through our CRM, and then tracking sales with our reporting tools. Let's get started.
Let's get started on the main dashboard today. Everything in Ollie Ops begins based on what we're using in fermentation. All of my fermenters are sitting over here on the left-hand side. Blue represents any batch in progress or finished. Green is not yet started, but it's forecasting out that tank space and the different materials that I need. And white is any unused area. To schedule a new batch, click into any open area, select the recipe that you plan to brew, and then the number of turns. I will be doing a single batch of a blackberry cider for today's example. By doing that, it is now forecasting out the appropriate raw materials that I need. More on that in a couple minutes here. Underneath the schedule is the physical brew house and the tank arrangements. You can customize this piece by moving them around, making the tanks larger or smaller, and arranging them to your likings. We also have a list view option over here on the side for a different way of looking at the information. For tank types, we have several of them in Ollie, and you can add new equipment at any point. Just say the name of the tank, its capacity, and the tank type. We have fermenters, serving, lagering, and bright tanks, and then a yeast brink for our yeast management program. If you use any barrels for barrel aging, they will all be split out over to the side, but there's full functionality here as well. While Ollie Ops is primarily designed for beer production, it can be used for a number of different items. To schedule a batch in our system, we do everything based on fermentation and using fermenters. We schedule different batches on this main dashboard here today. I will schedule a batch of a blackberry cider, and then we will produce it in a couple of moments. Click into any open area on the screen, choose what you'd like to produce. We'll do a blackberry cider for today's example. The number of turns, so I'm just going to do a single batch for today's example. That has now been scheduled, and that is immediately going to be forecasting out to my different reports. We'll cover that a little bit later on today. Down below, underneath the schedule, is the physical tank arrangements. For your knowledge, there are several different tank types available in Ollie Ops. We have fermenters, serving, lagering, and bright tanks, as well as a yeast brink. Let's begin our batch. To produce an item and start the process, click on the green bar on the main schedule. It will pull us to this beginning page. If I am short on any items, it'll give us a red box below, letting us know what and how short we'll be, but Ollie is not going to block us if we don't have all the different items in inventory. Ultimately, we require that you assign a lot code before you package out the item to make sure all the inventory levels are correct and the values applied. Oftentimes, in non-beer related items, this mash page can be disregarded unless you're using any different items in a mash. The ingredients and lot codes can be added and selected, and then down below, there's multiple different fields that can be added as well. There's a few different timers that are built in that can be applied if need be, and then there's an area for notes down below. In the notes, anything built into a recipe will pop through, so you can keep all of your findings consistent, and this is a great place to log any activities as well. Next is the boil screen. This is where most of the action is going to be happening in a non-beer related item. We have timers to begin the boil and whirlpool. We can update final volume and original gravity if we need to. Down below, we can see any of the different items that are being consumed during the boil. That's where my items are today. I have my sugar, my miscellaneous items, apple juice. I can see the lot codes that are being consumed, the amount that I'm drawing down from inventory and using in the batch, and then we can make any different edits over here on the right-hand side if we need to. If you're using any yeast in the batch, that can be pitched and applied to the specific item over here as well. Now, let's go back to the main dashboard and we can see what else is happening with this batch. Down below, this is my blackberry cider. I can see that it's currently fermenting. Now, I need to add some blackberries, a post-boil addition to this batch. We can click in, go to the Additions tab, and then click Edit to choose the appropriate lot code of whatever we want to consume and the date that we're going to be consuming it. I'm doing that right here today. From here, we have several different options with this batch. Scrolling back down, in the fermenter, I have options to pitch, yeast, or consume any additions, transfer to a different tank or barrel, take log information, whether that's things like gravity, temperature, pH, standard for beer, but you can really customize any other fields, whatever is important to record down below here as well. We have the options then to record packaging from any tank type, update the volume, or dump the remaining. Let's go ahead and package this item. I will record some packaging. I can also easily change the product to anything else if I need to as well. Today, we're going to be packaging some half-barrel kegs. We can enter a lot code to identify the finished goods for whatever we're packaging today, and then say the amount of what we're going to be packaging. Let's do 4 half-barrel kegs. I'm also going to be doing a canning run off of this item here. Let's enter the same lot code for today's date. The amount packaged, let's do 40 cases of that today. Also, Ollie lets you be very flexible with the loss and the remaining volume, and you can decide where you want that extra volume and loss to be applied. For my example today, I'm not going to apply loss to the kegs. I want all of that extra value and loss to be applied to my cans, so that's the action that I'm taking down below here. When we record packaging, it pulls us to a summary of what we just did, and let's look at the half-barrel kegs as an example. We can see the packaging materials that we're consuming in this action, the lot codes, amount being drawn down from inventory, and those different values. We can tie in any other additional costs that we need and get a full cost breakdown where we can see the lot code that we're using today, the amount packaged, the unit cost of each of those items produced, and then that's being calculated based on the batch cost. The packaging materials that are being consumed, all added up, divided by the amount to give us that unit cost in the system here today. And then we have a full summary of everything that we've done under our batches tab. We can see this blackberry cider, come in, make any edits to our name if we need to, and always access that original brew log. From here, we can see how the COGS are being calculated for the entire batch. First of all, the cost breakdown as well, the ingredients that are consumed during the boil, my batch addition of the blackberries, and my overarching batch cost up top here. Now, let's take a quick look at forecasting and reports in Ollie Ops for non-beer items. After an item is scheduled on the main dashboard, we can use the different forecasters built in. To find them, navigate to the report section at the bottom of the screen. Let's look at 2 forecasters today. First of all, a raw material forecast by batch. This is a high-level overview of your upcoming scheduled production days, where we can set an end date in the future, see those upcoming scheduled dates, and what specific items will be short on for those upcoming batches. Ultimately, the goal here is to allow you to reschedule if you need to, get your purchase orders out, but avoid unnecessary delays, avoid needing to apply things like rush shipping, which can be an absolute killer to the business. We can look at everything even further with the full raw material forecast. This is going to look at every single thing that I have scheduled in Ollie Ops on my schedule based on an end date. We can see every single ingredient that we're slated to use, my starting amount for the ingredients right now. If we brew through the end date, where do we end up with the different amounts? Then you can see, maybe you want to see what's underneath your notification threshold. What will you truly not have enough of to produce during this time period? We can then look at those different negative items and even generate purchase orders from here as well. This will pull in my different preferred vendors, preferred order sizes, help enter the quantity of each item that I would need, and then we can email this purchase order out to our contacts at the vendors, and it has a meaningful integration with QuickBooks Online as well. Next on the reports, let's look at inventory usage. This is just a very quick way to see everything that you've consumed in the system. Navigate to your desired date range, look at the different item type that you prefer. Let's look at miscellaneous items today. And I can see everything that I've consumed during that appropriate date range. We can also export this information to manipulate it further if need be. Let's finish up with our production and packaging reports. Navigate to your desired date range to see what you produced during this time period. We can look at any or all of our products. Let's look at my cider today. Now we can see what we just produced a few minutes ago. That's cider, my blackberry cider, the amount that we produced, my taxable volume recorded, and the loss, so we can quickly get those different production totals, export this if you need to. And then we can see what we put into packages. Same idea. We can look at the desired date range, our products, category type. Let's look at my keg specifically of that cider that we just produced. We can see the lot code, all the different items that we have, the amount that was packaged, that appropriate volume, any loss attributed to that package type, the unit cost, and the total packaging run cost available. Let's finish up with Ollie Order today and managing those finished goods of those non-beer items. In Ollie Order, you can manage beer and non-beer items or multiple different brands at the same time quite easily. Today, we'll begin with warehouses. When I click into a warehouse, I can see all of the different items that are enabled in that warehouse. Let's look specifically at my distillery items today. I can go in, choose that appropriate brand, apply this, and then it's only going to show me what I have for distillery items. I have 3 different items available today. When we're looking at a warehouse, we can quickly see what's available to sell. Separate from available is allotted. Allotted for us means that item is on an accepted sales order. It just hasn't been delivered yet. Inbound transfers refers to something coming from a different warehouse, and you can also take pre-sale orders and items into the negatives if you wish. So for this vanilla cream soda, I have 148 available, 7 allotted. That means if I go into the warehouse, I'll see a total of 155 items, but when I go to create an order, I will only see 148 available. Let's go ahead and create an invoice for a customer. The examples I'm using today are for example purposes only. Now, we can select the brand that we want to put on the invoice, search for a specific customer, and then all the different details that we have saved about that customer are going to populate to the top of the screen. This is looking at the warehouse available, fulfillment method. I can have multiple price lists, associate a sales rep with the order, and then down below is when we can add products onto our order. When we click in, we can then add these specific products. Let's look at my vanilla cream soda. I have those 148 available to sell. Let's go ahead and put 2 of those 24 packs on this order. When I do that, I can now see the appropriate lot code and make any changes if I need to. When I click accept, those different items are moving from my available status to the allotted status. And then at that point, an invoice and a bill of lading are also being created right there for me as well. We have several different options that we can do, such as shipping, returning any kegs if we need to into the system, and then I can take any of these other actions over here on the right-hand side. If you are delivering these items yourself, you can create all sorts of different customer groups to make sure that you have everything that you need, and there's a full CRM built into Ollie Order as well here. Let's do a very quick delivery day. I'm going to look for any orders that are in the accepted status that are for a specific customer group that I have. And for me, that is going to be a couple of different locations here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I can apply this, see those accepted orders, group them together, and then Ollie will quickly let me get a pick list so that we can acquire everything and make sure that it gets where it needs to go. Get that pick list right here and see all of those different appropriate items. After completing the orders, we can look at all the different results on our sales dashboards and how they're interacting in the reports. With the sales dashboard, there's a time period selector, and we can choose what we're comparing to. I'm looking at my distillery brand today, but we can look at individual units, warehouses, and sales reps in addition. And then have just quick glimpses of what's happening with our business. Total revenue, gross volume, units, points of distribution, customers, and then a few different tables showing more information. The reports can all be found down below at the bottom left-hand side of your screen. I'll give a quick example here of a sales by X report. This is essentially a giant digital pivot table where multiple different dimensions can be selected. Today, let's look at any specific product and what we're selling just as a whole. I'm going to look today in volume in gallons, and let's choose the brand that is my distillery. So we can go into the brand, choose that distillery, and apply this. I'm going to look on a week-by-week basis. I don't have a lot of information. The year just started here today, but we can see all those different totals being applied. And then all of our different reports can be downloaded to a CSV or an Excel file if you wish to manipulate it further. Outside of the Sales by X report, we have things like a sales summary, sales expanded, sales by SKU, sales detail, a sales by lot report, payments and AR aging reports, price lists, returns, credit memos, credits, sales team activity, track anything that's been logged in the CRM, a number of different inventory reports, such as cost of goods sold, inventory adjustments, reconciliation, and inventory depletion. We have a Sage 50 and QuickBooks Desktop export, FinTech and iControl exports, excise reports for inventory and revenue, and then also keg tracking if necessary.
That's all for today about using Ollie to produce and distribute non-beer items. Please reach out with any questions or drop them in a comment below. Be sure to like and subscribe for more Ollie and Brewery Solutions content coming soon.